All right, let's move on. We're going to talk about comedy. Best way to start is to talk about a quote that came from Jerry Seinfeld during the premiere of his new Netflix movie. I believe it's Unfrosted.
On Pop-Tarts.
On Pop-Tarts, yes. Okay, let's okay, so
Zoom in.
From Variety, this was on the red carpet. Jerry Seinfeld says TV comedy is being hurt by the extreme left and PC crap. People worrying so much about offending other people. It used to be you would go home at the end of the day. Most people would go, "Oh, Cheers is on. Oh, MASH is on. Oh, Mary Tyler Moore is on. All in the Family is on." You just expected there'll be some funny stuff we can watch on TV tonight. Well, guess what? Where is it? This is the result of the extreme left and PC crap, and people worrying so much about offending other people. Comedy fans are now going to see stand-up comics because we are not policed by anyone. The audience polices us. We know when we're off track. We know instantly when we adjust to it instantly, and we adjust to it instantly. But when you write a script, it goes into 4 or 5 different hands, committees, groups. Here's our thought about a joke. Well, that's the end of your comedy. Yeah, I'll just say I think Chrissy Mayer and Lila Hart would have something to say about not being policed. But I think the idea is that stand-up comedy is the last bastion to truly be funny and to find out where that line is.
Well, so I agree and disagree. So there's so many other forces at play here with regards to what Jerry wrote or said. For instance, Everyone Loves Raymond. You cannot call that a controversial, edgy comedy. Yet it was hugely successful. Head of the Class was not a controversial comedy. I mean, WKRP. These were shows with good ideas, good cast, and what the main problem is, the industry has changed. The audience has changed. Studios are no longer doing what studios used to do, and that was commission 100 scripts, shoot 30 pilots, and then each network would put on their best 4 shows, 4 sitcoms, out of which maybe 1 each per network would survive the year. That's the attrition rate. That's how it was. I mentioned in my video that everyone talks about the television business as if it's the stuff that you see. No, what gave people the most work was all the stuff that they didn't see. The pilot season gave a ton of people a ton of work, great experience, great connections. That was what made network television successful. Where they've killed it is, number one, they ignored when they got onto cable, they ignored HBO and these other people were doing better shows and more interesting shows than the networks were doing, but that took a long time. And then they created their own streaming service because they got scared and decided that they had to compete with Netflix for some reason. So they started off with a model that was successful with ads, that was broadcast, and they knew how to broadcast it, and they siphoned off all these resources to create an unsuccessful streaming service, put products on the streaming service that actually competed with their own products on their own over-the-air network, and shrunk the audience on their over-the-air network, blew through cash, billions of dollars on their streaming service. Now they're killing their streaming services, or they're changing them over to ad-based. And now what they're left with, after all this effort, is a crappier network with fewer people watching. It's the dumbest thing in the world. So I would recommend to Hollywood that you actually get together and try to make the 4 networks successful again. That should be the first effort that you do. Start making 100, writing 100 scripts, shooting 30 pilots, putting them back on. I don't need 37 NCSIs. I don't need 27 Chicago, something fuck. I don't need that. I mean, we need comedy, lots of comedy. And it could all be gentle, fun stuff. I mean, I Night Court, the rerun of this new Night Court is dreadful.
Yes.
But at least, you know, they gave it a shot. So I think the thing that's going to save Hollywood is to try to get the studios and the networks back up and running, shooting, piloting, and airing comedies. That's my
so let me bring up, because he really goes at it. I mean, I was just surprised by the fact that he just out and said it and mentioned the extreme left and the PC crap. Because we can get into a philosophical debate about comedy here, but to me, when I've approached comedy, what I like finding that line. I like tippy-toeing right up to that line and maybe crossing it in a way that you wouldn't imagine. And I feel like that DEI and PC and woke, we've kind of like, it's like, here's the line, now move back 100 yards.
Sure, but the comedies I mentioned, Family Ties, it's not going to fall under the auspices of DEI. It's apart from the odd joke. Listen, Hollywood has always interfered with everything. The greatest, most feared line is, "I just received network notes." It's always a joke, always has been a joke. And 80% of the time they're horrific. And the way you deal with it is you send a note back saying, "Wow, this is fantastic. I love the changes. I'm putting them in." And then when they come back down, you say, "I've put them in," and you haven't done a thing. That's how you dealt with network notes. So that's always been there. MASH would have been controversial. Mary Tyler Moore, in its own way, was very controversial. There were things that people didn't like on it. Taxi, maybe not so much. So I don't think it's an impediment. I mean, obviously, Jerry Seinfeld show had some unbelievably controversial moments, and good for him. I mean, Larry David and him pushed the envelope, but we don't have to push the envelope for comedy. So it's not necessary. You need the variety. I'd say you want a few shows that are like, You'll Never Get Married with Children, for instance.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh man, that was a good one. So to his point, though, what is it? When you write a script, it goes to 4 or 5 different hands, committees, and groups. What you're saying is that network notes has always been there. Network notes have always been, the rare occasion where they write, but most of the time it's just their fear of sparking unnecessary controversy. But it seems like it's different today, and it's more intensified today. That the notes you would have gotten 40 years ago are very different than the notes you would get today.
Perhaps, but again, it depends on the notes would be make the show more diverse. How come all these Finnish mountain climbers are all white? Well, because they're Finnish. How come this 12th century Scottish battle scene has no Asians in it? Yeah. Well, because there weren't any.
Well, they were doing the laundry and making.
That's right. That's the new fight. Okay, so that would be the new fight compared to long time ago, right? That would be the addition to the stupid network notes. You're now going to get, where's the trans kid?
Right. All right.
So let me added bullshit.
Okay, let me put a pin in it there, because I want to transition into dig into that a little bit deeper.
Speaking of trans.
Yes.